Welcome to lesson number 3, where I teach you the basics of Photoshop. If you have not seen the previous 2 lessons, go watch those first. Let's get into it. Let's quickly return this to 100% opacity. In this video, we'll get into masking and how to remove parts of the image. To make things a little bit more clear, I'm gonna remove the background for now. Let's look at this image. We obviously don't want this bar here. So how do we remove this? Well, we'll go to this tool, the little rectangle. And when we have selected this tool, we can click and drag around the little bar. And when we let loose, it has now selected this area. Make sure that you have this layer selected in the layer window. And now if I hit delete, it's gone. If I do the same thing for the arrow, well, drag a box around it, select the layer and hit delete, this window will pop up. I can't edit this object directly. This is an issue, right? How are we gonna edit this arrow? Bear with me. I'm gonna show you a way that I really like because it's fast, and then I'll show you the official right way. So what I do is select the eraser right here by hitting E on my keyboard and then clicking, hitting OK, and now I can hit delete and it is gone. Let's go back for a second. This is a bit of a hacky way to do this. The right way is to go to the layer window and go to rasterize layer. And now you can do the same thing. But I find that a bit slow. It's way faster to just hit E, click and be done. This is not the only masking tool we have in our Photoshop toolbox. If I hold down on this tool, you can see that we have some other shapes. Right here we have the lasso, which allows us to make shapes freely like this. If you now want to remove this without making a new one, I would just hit M, which is the rectangle tool, click once and it's gone. And here comes the most interesting masking tool that we have at our disposal, which is the object selection tool, quick selection tool and the magic wand tool. What this does is that it uses some smart deep learning technology to help us mask exactly what we want to mask. If I select this layer and click on his head, it will now select him. And this generally works really well. For pictograms like this, it actually works kind of bad. As you can see, we have selected him and, well, his legs too and part of his chair. But I want to select everything except for the white background. So how do we do that? Well, I'll go to the Smart Selection tool. And as you can see, I can make rectangles with this one as well. And now I can go into this image and drag a rectangle around these two persons, and now it will try and select the subject in this rectangle. So it has selected both of them. It has not selected everything that I needed to select. So let's now hold shift and select some more. And by holding shift, it will add it to the selection that we had already made. Let's now go to the toolbar and change this tool to the quick selection tool. And now we're going to clean up our selection manually. And as you can see, I can zoom in like this. There are a few ways to do this. You can hit Alt and scroll. That is one way to zoom in. Another way is by hitting Z or selecting this tool, and then you can click and drag to zoom in. Let's select our selection tool and let's draw over his face like that. And now we have selected this whole guy and a little bit of the background. So let's remove that. So there we go. That looks good. Let's also select the chair behind him. Well, that's fine for now. If I hit Alt, you can see, if you look very closely, that the plus in the little circle changes to a minus, which means that I'm removing something from the selection. If I click now, this is not selected anymore. Let's make sure we have him fully selected as well. There we go. That seems all right. Let's select the chair. You can change the size of the selection tool in this window in the top. And by the way, you can also select the selection tool by hitting W. And I think that our selection, well, is pretty good. Now, to remove the background, we can use several methods. The first way you might be thinking of is hitting delete. If we hit delete right now, we will remove everything except the background. So if we were to do it that way, we would need to reverse the selection like this. Select inverse, and if I now hit delete, the background is gone. But let's go back. We don't want to do that way. There is a better way. and it is by hitting this little icon in the right bottom corner. If I hit this, the background is gone as well, and we have added this little black square, which is our layer mask. The great thing about this layer mask is that we can change it later on. For example, if I get my eraser and erase, we have just added to our mask like this. If I hit X, it's actually gonna do the reverse and add the things we removed in the mask back in. That is why I like to use these layer masks. We have nearly reached the end of this video, but I want to show you one more thing. If I double click on this layer, we can open up the layer style window. In here, I can do a whole lot of different things. For instance, I can add drop shadow, just like this. Now there is a little shadow behind these two dudes. Something else that we can do is add a stroke. Let's make it red just for now so we can see it clearly. Well, that is how you add an outline to a subject. As you can see, the line is very rough. So how do we change that? Well, we double click on the mask in the layer, and now we can change the mask properties. And because of this outline, we can clearly see what it does. So if I drag up this smooth slider, the whole mask becomes a lot more smooth. I'm also going to shift the edge a little bit, and that already looks a lot better. So when I hit OK, it will have applied these new settings. If you look closely in the layer window, we can also see that we can turn the stroke on and off right here. So that is all I wanted to teach you in this video. In the next video, we will get into creating some custom shapes. I'll see you there.